It is entirely too cold this morning. Here at the location I've decided to launch today. My little brother had a tough day yesterday. He lost a couple big ones and he only caught 4 fish. So he's within striking distance to get a check, but I'm in much better shape. I had 76.5 inches and check range is very reachable for me. So he decided he'd give me an area that he found some fish in late in the day yesterday because I have a better chance at getting a check and doing well. So that's hats off to him for that. I kind of showed him the same respect in practice when he found some fish in an area. We were both fishing together and I said, hey, just tell me where they are so I don't find those fish. And that's just kind of part of what working together with someone when you fish tournaments is. It's an unwritten code that you have to follow, and it works with some people and it doesn't work with others, but I'm thankful my brother and I are able to work that out. Whether or not I catch them, who knows. He had a bunch of fish located yesterday that would not bite, but these ones did, but that was late in the day, so we'll have to wait and see. Right now it's 29 degrees, so I'm not really looking forward to getting out there, but I will because I can see the area that I want to go and it's calm over there, which is good because my game plan today is just to roll around in the timber and try to live scope fish with a jerkbait. That's how I caught my 4 best ones yesterday. So probably gonna just roll with that most of the time, unless it is really, really sucking doing that. It just feels like the best way to consistently get a good bite from what I've been doing. So gonna go give it a whirl. I started on a spot where my little brother had a big school of fish the day before. I wasn't able to locate them. It could have been because it was early in the morning. I mean, a lot had changed, so those fish weren't there. I only had one fish look at a bait, but right when I started fishing there, these guys came up. That looks kind of far, but I could have landed a jerkbait in their boat. GoPro just makes it look further away. Y'all fishing a tournament? Yeah, it's a shame my GoPro died, but I asked these guys if they're fishing a tournament because sometimes people will do, stuff that's a little more extreme when that's happening. And they go, oh, yeah, it's a little local tournament. And I was like, oh, so what's first? And they were like, oh, probably $400 or $500. I said, all right, well, just so you know, these kayak fishermen that are out here, we're fishing for 10,000 today. So if you just keep that in mind. And they said, all right. And then they just kept fishing. And I was looking at a brush pile in front of me and I said, hey, can you guys please not go that way? I'm about to cast at a brush pile and you're about to run over my line. And they turned around and went the other way after that. But it's insane that that's what I had to say to them to get them to leave. And, it would have been a whole different story if when they rolled up, they said, hey, man, you mind if we fish this point with you? I'd be like, I mean, yeah, I understand. There were some boats in the area, so clearly it was a good area. I would have said, maybe, all right, you guys take the left half, I'll take the right half. Because really it doesn't bother me that much if somebody will work with me. But when people just don't say a word and roll right up on you, that's horrible. Okay. Kind of getting off to a slow start, but spotted bass in there, first one of the day, first fish. He's probably like 13 inches, but I'll take it for now. There was a small brush pile off the corner of this dock that I was working on landing my bait in. It's actually the one that I just caught that keeper spotted bass off of, and I was hoping there were more. There didn't end up being any more. You'll notice that I actually make a few casts. I cast my bait out, reel it back in, and throw it right back out because on LiveScope, you can see exactly what the best part of whatever structure you're fishing is. And it's the same as when you look at a lay down on the bank, you can tell where the fish is going to be. It's almost, exactly like that. So you can tell exactly where your bait needs to be, and it makes you a lot more efficient. So I'll end up, reeling my bait up before it hits the bottom a lot of the times when I can tell it's not going to the right spot. No hook set on this next fish catch, but to walk you through what happened. I saw a brush pile on that forward-facing sonar, pitched a shaky head out into it, watched it fall into the pile. Fish picked it up. Boom. Oh, yeah. Too bad this part doesn't count today, because that's like a 5-pounder on the shaky head. Love that. Love that. It's pretty easy to see the brush pile that I'm about to make a cast at here. It looks kind of fuzzy out there. When they look like this on the sonar and they come up pretty far, it was a good thing. I don't know what that means. I don't know if it's a bigger pile or if it's got fresher branches, but that's what I'm throwing at. There he is. So this whole time I've been fishing an arm off of a creek. I don't know if you would consider that a creek in a creek or a pocket. Toledo Bend is massive, so it's really hard to classify the features of this lake. But I've spent the whole day thus far in about a 50-acre cove or creek, and I'm just fishing each brush pile that I see. Right now I'm headed towards the back of it. You can see kind of off the front of my kayak to the right, that's the back of the pocket there, and it gets a lot shallower once you get past that stake you can see over there to my right. So really there's not much water left, and I'm just fishing for fish that are theoretically the furthest up, the furthest fish along in that pre-spawn staging process. That sucks. Okay. I really don't know why I lost this fish. You can see I feel him there. I wait. Bam, set the hook. Rod was bent. Never lost pressure with this fish. Even grabbing the net there, I had plenty of pressure on him. And as soon as he came to the surface, he didn't even jump. He just popped off. It was probably at least a 17-inch fish, and I only had 3 at this point, and 2 of them were very small. So I was bummed about it, but kept fishing. This is pretty exciting. You can see that stake out there. I'm very close to where I just lost that fish on the brush pile, but I see one fish suspended on this tree. That stake is marking a large tree so that boats don't hit it. And I throw the jerkbait at him, and things get pretty interesting. Oh my gosh. This fish is big. Yes. Let's go. Let's freaking go. Yes. Oh, that's what's up right there. So that's fish number 4 and my second 5-pounder of the day. So I was pretty excited about that, particularly with not getting many bites. I decided to go over to the bank to take his picture. Well, y'all missed that one, but got number 5. He's a little bit of a zombie. Oh, hell yeah, he's almost 15. So after that, things got pretty slow. I mean, it was already slow to begin with, but I was picking away at them, and I caught those 2 nice ones. But I spent enough time after that without getting bit. I went back and fished the brush piles again, didn't get another bite out of any of the ones I caught fish off of. So that told me I probably needed to make an adjustment. This was an entirely new area to me, and the fish that my little brother, had caught the day before were not active. I saw a few of them, but they just were not playing. They'd been hit by bass boats a couple times. So I made a huge move. I made about a mile paddle across the creek and fished another spot very similar to this and didn't catch anything. So then with like 30 minutes to go, after just, because I was really sticking it out trying to find another big jerkbait bite, and it just didn't happen. I saw maybe one more fish follow it, and I know it was probably a big one. But anyway, was running out of time, and it was just not happening. It completely slicked off, so I headed out into the abyss to try to flip a jigging spoon at fish. There was no real way to predict where they would be, but as long as you got around bait, you had a chance. Okay, just got a few more minutes here to fish. Just caught one small fish, but big help. I'm just out here in the middle of the lake at this point. The bite got so dead that I decided to come look for spoonfish, and I did catch one. I had missed 2 others, but I feel like they were probably similar size, but I don't know for sure. I'm trying to figure out if I can identify what they are. Those are swimming pretty fast. Those might be bass right there. I don't know. If they're bass, they're nice. Got him. Let's freaking go! Yes! Yes! Shout out Cody Huff. Biggin'. Let's freaking go. We got I got 8 minutes left to fish. Let's go. I bet that's an 18-incher. Huge upgrade. That might put me in the top 10 as long as I can get his picture. I've fished a lot of tournaments. It's not often you get to catch a buzzer beater fish that helps, and this was a buzzer beater fish that helped a lot. You're able to watch the leaderboard when you're fishing these events, so I knew I needed to catch another big one, and I knew that this pretty much sealed the deal and I was going to get paid. Didn't know how much, but I knew it was great. That fish bumped me up into 13th out of 200, got me a $1,000 check, paid for my whole fishing trip and then a little extra. It's very hard to complain about that, particularly with what you have to invest in this compared to the bass boat tournaments I've fished. That's a wrap for Toledo Bend
for the Hobie BOS. My little brother had a great day. He had 90 inches with his best 5. He finished in 33rd place. A good recovery for him after only having 4 on the first day. And if he would have had a 5th fish, he would have been right there in the money with me as well. Expecting good things for us this season in the Hobie BOS.
Gonna go over the setups that I used at Toledo Bend to catch my fish. First one was the old shaky head. I was using a 1/4 ounce and an 1/8 ounce shaky head with that's just a 6-inch straight tail green pumpkin worm. Pretty simple stuff. Dragging it way slower than I would have liked to, but those fish were kind of hunkered down from that cold front. I was fishing that on 10-pound X9 braid to 10 and 12-pound trilene fluorocarbon leaders. That is a 7-foot medium Veritas PLX, and that's a Zeta 30 size. Kind of a great all-around spinning rod. Is that 7-foot medium fast. There's a lot of different stuff you can do with that. I also caught a few fish on drop shots, fishing brush piles. 3/8 ounce weight, 6-inch straight tail worm. Pretty simple stuff. Also, everybody's caught fish on these before. I was Texas rigging that worm in those brush piles. It's pretty important to do that. I was fishing 10 and 12-pound leaders on that also. Basically, the reason for the difference between leader sizes is because on day one I realized that I probably should be fishing with 12-pound instead of 10, so I switched over. Most of my fish in the tournament came on a jerkbait. Everybody knows what jerkbait this is. No surprise there. It's a +1 jerkbait, so it goes a little deeper. I probably could have caught a lot of them on a regular depth jerkbait, but in a kayak you can't just have a bunch of rods laying around with different baits on them. It takes up too much space, so I was throwing the medium depth one, and it did okay. Some of those fish were sitting up pretty high in the water column though. 6'6", fast, medium on that. Shorter rod is kind of nice on a jerkbait. I probably wouldn't fish that short of a rod out of a boat, but in a kayak, it worked just fine, especially when I'm fishing close to the boat on live scope. Some of those fish would follow that bait really close, as you'll see in the video, and I would end up hooking them, 10 feet away from the boat. So the short rod helped being a little more maneuverable in those situations when I would hook a fish with not much line out. The reel on that was a Revo SX 7.3 to 1 with 12-pound trilene fluorocarbon on it. My last setup, I did not catch many fish on this, but I caught probably the most important fish of the tournament for me on it. A little 1/2 ounce jigging spoon, and that's 12-pound trilene fluorocarbon on there. This is a 7-foot fast medium Veritas PLX, same as the spinning rod, just in a bait caster. Revo Rocket, super important for pitching spoons at fish on forward-facing sonar, because when you pitch out at one, you realize your bait missed him, or he's swimming faster than you thought he was and he got past your bait. You take 2 or 3 turns of the handle, you're already ready to pitch again. And it seems kind of silly to say that that makes a difference, but anybody who's fished with forward-facing sonar and followed fish around that are swimming really fast, that makes a really big difference. And honestly, that's the only thing I really like this reel for, but I wouldn't trade it for anything in that situation. Yeah, those are the rods and reels that I used for Toledo Bend to catch all those fish in the tournament. I think I forgot to say on the drop shot rod, it was the same rod as the shaky head rod, just the 7-foot fast medium, and it's a Revo X, but the same braid, same leader, same everything.